In today's video.
But while the cameras were still rolling and the likes kept coming, behind the scenes, everything was starting to go downhill. The first domino fell in September 2018, when a fire stunt meant to impress diners went horribly wrong.
And you know, that's about it. He's just another meme, except the difference in his case is that he believed he was hot shit because of that meme. Now, as per usual with memes, they always believe they're above everything. And on top of that,
From going viral overnight to now drifting into irrelevance. From rubbing shoulders with the biggest celebrities every week to now getting kicked out of major sporting events. From bragging about $100,000 dinner bills at his luxury steakhouses to watching his empire crumble right before his eyes, Saltbae's story is a textbook example of how internet fame can vanish just as fast as it arrives, especially when ego takes the spotlight and everyone sees the attention-hungry narcissist man behind the meme. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be taking a closer look at the downfall of Saltbae, how he went from humble beginnings to ruling the internet at one point, and then losing it all to arrogance and greed, all while building a business empire that, behind the gold-plated steaks and viral clips, hid a toxic culture of exploiting staff and reckless practices that put lives at risk. Though, before it all came crashing down, Saltbae's rags to riches story was quite the inspiration. Neusxanity started his life in a small Turkish village called Pazli, with limited resources and poor infrastructure. His father also worked as an ordinary mine worker, which unfortunately didn't pay enough to support a family. Due to the family's financial struggles, Neusxanity had to leave school at the age of 13 and start working as an apprentice at a butcher shop in Istanbul. And while Neusxanity had to work 13 grueling hours a day every day without a single day off, this job marked the beginning of his journey in the food industry, with him going on to work at various steakhouses across Turkey as years went by. Then, in 2007, he secured a $3,400 bank loan to travel across multiple countries and learn more about their meat industries and the steakhouse businesses. After doing this for 3 years, he returned to Turkey in 2010 and opened his very own steakhouse. It was a fairly small restaurant with just 8 tables and a handful of staff. Despite this, Neusxanity Steakhouse managed to catch the attention of high-end clientele, including the Turkish billionaire Ferit Şahenk, who was so impressed by the quality of food and service that he offered to invest and help Neusxanity branch out not just in Turkey, but across the Middle East. By the end of 2016, Neusxanity was already a fairly successful businessman. What he didn't know, however, was that his luck was about to change once again. On January 7th, 2017, he posted a video of himself dressed in a tight white t-shirt and dark sunglasses while slicing meat, and sprinkling salt on it in the most unusual ways. This went viral, racking up millions of views and shooting Neusxanity into internet stardom practically overnight. The moment of him pouring the salt got turned into a meme as well, making him even more popular than just the viral clip, with people now referring to him as the quote Saltbae. Lamau, Saltbae is at the other side of the world and has no idea he's an instant classic with Black Twitter. It's gonna be crazy to tell kids, oh yeah, that's Saltbae, the way my dad told me about Paul Newman. I dressed up as Saltbae for Halloween. From parody skits on national television
It's happening!
to professional athletes celebrating with his signature move on the biggest stages, Saltbae had quickly become one of the most recognizable faces on the internet. This was a powerful position to be in, and Neusxanity understood this better than anyone else, because not long after he went viral, Saltbae announced plans to open luxury restaurants in both New York and London that same month, followed by several more locations worldwide over the upcoming months. Now, the menu in these new restaurants was outrageously expensive, including things like a $100 burger, $10 for a can of Red Bull, $25 for a single dessert, and the star of the show, the $1,800 24-karat gold-coated tomahawk steak. Despite this, Saltbae's restaurants were a massive hit almost instantly, with people traveling to them from around the world. More than the food itself, people were buying into an exclusive, over-the-top experience just for the chance to see the man himself in person.
Yes, sir.
Week after week, his restaurants attracted the biggest names in sports, music, films, and beyond. Saltbae had successfully turned a viral internet moment into a multi-million-dollar global brand. But behind all of the gold steaks and celebrity selfies, the reality was far from glamorous. Because as it turned out, when it came to the actual food, Saltbae's empire was style over substance. His London steakhouse, for example, was ranked among the bottom 33% of restaurants in the city on TripAdvisor, scoring a measly 2.9 stars with over 350 reviews, out of which 167 labeled it as outright terrible, with reviews like "bad food at crazy prices, all seen and zero substance. The biggest scam ever. Food was undercooked and tasted awful," as well as "terrible service, way too expensive for being treated like third-class citizens." To make matters even worse, his burger joint in New York was branded as the worst restaurant in the city, with professional critics describing the food using phrases like "a little rubbery and low on flavor," "mundane, somewhat tough and rather bland," "shoe leather tough," and "public ripoff #1. You'd think that after seeing such terrible reception, Neusxanity would focus on eliminating those issues. However, the Saltbae did not care one bit. He viewed himself as some sort of icon, saying things like, "Now everybody wants to be a butcher because of me. Now if you ask a kid, they want to be Saltbae. They see me as an idol. I'm an inspiration to a lot of people in a very short period of time." It was clear that his instant online fame had inflated his ego beyond bounds. The quality of food, the customer experience, it all took a back seat. What mattered most was the performance. He even started bragging openly on social media, sharing receipts of customers spending over $100,000 on a single meal, using them like trophies to show off his status. And it wasn't long before the brand stopped being about food entirely and became all about him. He filled his feed with shirtless videos, struck poses like a runway model, and carried himself like an A-list celebrity. But while the cameras were still rolling and the likes kept coming, behind the scenes, everything was starting to go downhill. The first domino fell in September 2018, when a fire stunt meant to impress diners went horribly wrong.
Oh my god! Ah! I yandı! Oh my god!
Flames shot out of control, injuring 4 people, including Czech internet personality Tynas Treknikova. She suffered third-degree burns over 35% of her body and was hospitalized for months. And while she managed to survive, her appearance was altered permanently. The incident made international headlines, yet the Saltbae made no public statements or apologies, pretending like the incident never even happened. But his silence was just the tip of the iceberg, because while his customers were fighting for their lives, he was busy feeding a dictator. That same month, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife visited Saltbae's restaurant in Istanbul, where they were treated to a lavish multi-$1,000 meal. And to add insult to injury, this all happened while Venezuela was in the midst of a devastating food crisis, with over 64% of the country's population losing an average of 11 kilograms or over 25 pounds due to food shortages and widespread hunger. Any person with even a shred of empathy might have declined to host a man overseeing that suffering. But not only did Saltbae welcome him with open arms, he posted multiple videos online bragging about it. As you might imagine, the backlash was immediate and intense, and it wasn't confined to behind the screen. Protests broke out in front of his restaurants in Miami and New York. The issue even resonated with the US Senate, with Senator Marco Rubio stating, "I don't know who this weirdo Saltbae is, but the guy he is so proud of to host is not the president of Venezuela. He is actually the overweight dictator of a nation where 30% of people only eat once a day, and infants are suffering from malnutrition." He eventually deleted the videos, but true to form, he never offered an apology. Because for Saltbae, the performance always mattered more than the people. But Saltbae's disregard didn't stop at bad reviews, burning guests, or feeding dictators. Things were even uglier behind the kitchen door. It all came to light in April of 2023, when Business Insider published an investigation report, uncovering a string of lawsuits and disturbing allegations that revealed an empire built on fear, exploitation, and control. Former staff described Saltbae as a petty tyrant obsessed with image, power, and excess, with a former manager stating, "His world was nothing but Instagram and fame. The sensation was him. He ended up getting this godlike complex." Employees were fired without warning, sometimes for accidentally breaking a glass or simply wearing the wrong shirt. A bartender in London said working there felt like being in the Hunger Games. Another even compared Saltbae to being a straight-up dictator. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Workers were forced to stage fake lines outside during slow hours and even sleep overnight in the restaurant during the COVID-19 pandemic and social unrest, all without getting paid overtime. And while he flaunted his wealth online, employees say he stole tips and punished mistakes by slashing workers' pay. In multiple lawsuits, employees alleged that management skimmed off 3% of tips or withheld them entirely, especially when high-profile celebrities were dining. A class action suit even stated that the management systematically fired each waiter who complained about not getting paid tips. One 19-year-old food runner had $140 deducted from her pay for delivering a bag of leftover steak to the wrong table. Another had $800 in tips slashed because a customer left without paying, as if she was supposed to hunt down the dine and dashes and collect the bill. But for the women working under Saltbae, the exploitation went a level deeper, into humiliation, harassment, and outright abuse. A bartender, for instance, was told to wear a quote, short skirt, high heels, and revealing top on her first day. When she protested, she was harassed by male co-workers. One even followed her home, and just days after requesting to wear a standard uniform, she was fired. Another lawsuit claimed that a female server was denied a promotion because Saltbae allegedly didn't find her physically appealing enough. And if all this wasn't bad enough, the horrendous culture of his restaurants reached the customers as well. Employees were routinely told to lie to customers, claiming cheaper cuts were premium, pouring leftover wine into new glasses, and even falsely labeling steaks as halal. Quote, "It was just about trying to get almost as much money out of the people who were coming through the door." But even all this wasn't enough to satisfy the Saltbae's ego. Eventually, his arrogance and sense of untouchable fame pushed him into doing something extreme in front of the whole world, resulting in the biggest public humiliation of his career. It happened on December 18th, 2022, when Argentina won the FIFA World Cup by beating France in a historic final. Fans were celebrating and players were emotional. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Saltbae breached the pitch, crashed the moment, and acted like he belonged there. He grabbed Lionel Messi, one of the biggest athletes in the world, at the most significant moment of his career, just to pester him for a photo. Then he somehow found a way to make this even worse, by grabbing the actual World Cup trophy and posing with it, as if he were part of the winning team. With the entire world watching, these cringeworthy moments sparked a wave of online backlash as massive as the viral fame that once made him, with comments reading, "This is the example of people living without feeling shame at all. TF does this guy have to do with this hard-earned victory? Clout chasing on an epic level. What an idiot that guy is." FIFA eventually launched an investigation into the incident, while also banning him from all future events. A ban that seems to be effective to this day, as he was publicly kicked out of the UEFA Champions League final after party on June 1st, 2025, for trying to enter uninvited. He He tried to save face by signing autographs outside, and claimed he wasn't there for the party, but for his quote, thousands of fans who wanted to see him. But the internet didn't buy the excuses one bit. Why is he even there in the first place? He's a nobody and hanger-on. Yeah, go and throw your salt somewhere else. That said, this mockery from the internet wasn't as intense as it should have been. Not because people like him now, but because most simply don't care. He's a mostly forgotten relic of the past, and after years of scamming customers with mediocre food, exploiting employees, and humiliating himself on the world stage, Saltbae is finally paying the price. Most of his US steakhouses have shut down, his London restaurant is seeing a 50% drop in profits, and his Dubai location isn't doing much better either. With businesses in decline, his social media numbers plummeting, and the world turning on him, Saltbae's story is well and truly over. With some patience, he could have easily ascended to the status of universally beloved figure like Gordon Ramsay. However, he let his ego and greed get in the way, which is exactly what happened to the Island Boys.
So it's kind of the same old story. The reason why this is going to be way shorter is it's just the same old thing. Meme believes he's something else. Meme believes he's something above everyone else. So now he doesn't have to do shit because he has fame, blah, blah, blah. It's the same old shit. So I've always thought this meme was the most corniest meme known to man. I intentionally ignored it even when I was in high school at 2017. Because I was thinking to myself, this shit is corny as hell. And the fact that people kept reposting it, showing it everywhere, repeating his pose, whatever. That's how much I'm telling you. If you hear me stuttering like this, that's how you know I just don't care. Like, I just look at this guy as just some random meme, and that's about it. He's just another meme, except the difference in his case is that he believed he was hot shit because of that meme. Now, as per usual with memes, they always believe they're above everything. And on top of that, the most fucked up part about this is someone got injured at his restaurant. Where is it? Someone got injured at his own goddamn restaurant. I wouldn't have sued so fucking fast. It wouldn't be even funny. His silence is exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of these people that do memes or are memes, they believe that they're higher than thou. But see, this guy's a businessman and a meme. And on top of that, he was injured. He didn't offer an apology, nothing. So every single time that he didn't even offer an apology, that's not just narcissism. That might be borderline sociopathism. I guess it's a stretch to call him that. But the man literally doesn't even think about the people who he's serving are injured. Doesn't think to repair the business by giving the people compensation. Nothing. Just silence. So, when there's someone like that, we clearly know what it is. I told you guys before about memes, they feel like they're above everyone else. That's really it, man. Again, I've always expected someone like this to fall off, and I didn't even think about the dude. Thing is that the internet archivist had to post a video about him in order for me to feel like it's even worth relevancy. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what else does. Because this is exactly what I expect of someone like this. To do the exact same thing again and again and again and again until it catches up with them. And then, finally they fall off and probably he's going to go back to his little village and say that he failed. He should, but knowing him, not really. Anyways, Good to know that this guy fell off. I'm one of your biggest haters, by the way, because I was definitely playing. What the hell? Praying on your downfall. I was definitely one of those motherfuckers that sat around and prayed on your downfall. You were the worst meme then, and now you are now. So, with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Hi, I'm Lucy Christian. I am the voice of Otako Uraraka, and you should subscribe to Neusxanity's channel. Peace out!